So now today's panel discussion is based on managing large scale automation, how to achieve versus pitfalls. So I welcome you all in the panel discussion day two, and our renowned and great leaders from the industry, Unmesh Gundecha from Standard Chartered Bank, Mukund Wangikar, IVL Infovision Labs, Sujata Datta, Vodafone Voice, Malay Raj Hartalkar, Media Ocean, and Tanupriya Teriyar, Quality Kiosk Technology Private Limited. So welcome all the panel members. Very warm welcome and good morning to you all. And we are going for a great panel discussion, and moderator would be Unmesh. So let's hear from the great leaders of the industry. As we have our last session, like experience engineering. So we have all experienced leader of the industry here discussion. So let's hear from them. So stage is yours, everyone. Mukund, Sujata, Malaraj, Tanupriya, and Unmesh. So Unmesh, over to you for the moderation of panel.
Thanks, Abhay.
Yes.
Do you want to set up the screen? Yeah. All right. Yeah, good.
Adi, would you like to share the screen and pin the panel, folks?
Yeah, I'm just doing it, okay? Yeah, we're all set.
All right. Thanks, Adi. Thanks, Abhay, and thanks, Harsh. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the day two panel session. I think for day one, we had a very interesting panel discussion, and I hope we'll have another awesome session today. First of all, I would like to thank ATA, Aditya, Harsh, and the organization committee for giving me this opportunity to moderate this session today. Today we'll be discussing the topic managing large-scale automation, what are the pitfalls, and how to achieve it. We'll be discussing how to build an automation strategy, how to set vision goals, how to build a team to support the large-scale automation, and how do we manage and operate this automation. And we'll also look at some the emerging trends of AI and ML, and how to make the automation more inclusive for developers, testers, and everybody to contribute in that area. So I'm sure this will be an interesting topic for everybody. I want to thank Soumya Mukherjee for bouncing off some of the interesting topic ideas yesterday. Thanks to him. So today we have an amazing panel. Each one of them bring a great experience in automation and quality engineering, test engineering, with unique perspectives from product and services organization. I would like participants to ask them a lot of questions, drill them on this topic, and we can use Slido for that Q&A session. I'll be looking at the Slido during the session to bring in some questions from the participants as well. So we have a lot to cover. So without further ado, I will ask our distinguished panel members to introduce themselves, starting with Mukund.
Hey, good afternoon. I hope I'm audible.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. So my name is Mukund Wangikar. I'm in this industry from last 22 years, and almost my stint is there into a testing and test automation. Now, in interest of this topic, I would like to add a couple of my experiences from managing the large scale automation. Especially, I worked with a company where it was a product company, and automation was into the early stage of its phases. There are not much open sources tools available. So I worked with a BI specific domain where this business intelligence was at the core, which is a data centric application, and implemented a large scale application using a that time technology with the Ruby What If. Then later moved into my career and then happened to work on the retail level applications, banking applications, and a lot of startup where this high-pace automation is in place. I worked as a global head for IVL and still learning through the mistakes.
Thanks, Mukund. It's interesting to know. Let's move on to Tanu.
Yeah, hi panel and hi everyone. So this is Tanu Priya. I'm currently heading the delivery for Quality Kiosk, handling majorly the insurance and automation solutions for Quality Kiosk. And I have an experience of more than 15 years in the industry. Have majorly been handling large automation projects, and when we came up with this topic, it again appeared a very, contextual. Majorly because at the time when we were working, say in 2005, 6, 7, we were having a large implementation of automation for around 20 kind of applications for a given customer. So it was an automobile industry where the number of applications where it was a Siebel application. It has a Cordis interface, and even 20 applications looked huge. Now we are working with a Philippine giant, and they have around 200 applications completely connected through microservices. We are working for an API factory for one of the largest banks, and I mean the kind of the size of large becomes very contextual in that context. Something was right in that time, something is right now. So we'll get deep into it and understand what kind of visions drive each of these large scale automations, and basis those visions, what are the metrics that drives us to achieve those visions and actually move towards achieving those goals. So looking forward to this discussion. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Priya. We'll move on to Sujata.
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, hi. Good morning and afternoon. I'm Sujata Datta. I lead India testing team for Vodafone Shared Services, and also I do the global test. I work as a global testing lead for other countries of Vodafone Shared Services. That's about Egypt and Romania. So my experience has been, it started from development, then into test automation. Then I'm not sure how I got into full-fledged into testing, covering whole of end-to-end testing. And I worked into various domains. You kind of, the big areas like product data management, product lifecycle management, and then a lot of banking areas, then retail, energy and utilities and logistics area. And currently I'm associated with Vodafone, which is the telco sector. So of course, while managing whole of end-to-end testing and being responsible for that large scale automation came in various ways in my whole responsibilities. So probably, eventually we'll talk about that. And we had set up a lot of benchmarking. We had set up a lot of processes, framework, and then what the success criteria that should be for the organization. So for us, actually, automation is not about the percentage, or it's not about the some number. I mean, definitely, there has to be some meaning why we are doing that automation. So while working with Vodafone, I mean, that becomes more prevalent because it's not about, showing it to anyone. It's about your own organization, and there are a lot of digital changes are happening. And of course, when you see about the digital changes are happening into the core business stack, then how automation needs to be dealt, that's a bit complicated thing, but it's very interesting. Maybe we'll be discussing that eventually. Yeah.
Thanks, Sujata. That's wonderful. Next, Malyaj.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. So Malayaj here from Media Ocean, Pune. I am working with this for last 6 years, and prior to that, around 14, 15 years into other industries. So primarily into automation and testing for last 20 years. I would say fortunate I was, gone and given this responsibility early in my career. So got exposure to the early age tools as well as the later on, the experience was used to continuously try and attempt getting the automation into the validation cycle. So fortunately gotten exposure to supply chain management, CRM, ERP for universities in US, financial risk management, those kind of domains, and finally into the media. So last 6 years I have been with MediaOcean and working there. In order to, so I really like this topic, and it talks about managing, but, fortunately got a chance to build and manage. And that's where I think, the real fun is, because primarily worked with product companies where the engagements are quite longish, and you have to build and manage. So you cannot, you cannot build anything and hope it will be sustainable, because in my opinion maintenance is the word which is the most important word when it comes to maintenance of the software automation, large scale products or projects. And that is the key, because you have playing ground is created by the applications, and they keep on changing, and you have to adjust. And what you need to ultimately get is that your automation should be the first class citizen in the world of engineering. And that's where I try to push the envelope, and I'm still learning. The technology is changing, and it's an interesting field to be in. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Malayaj. That was brilliant. So as we see, we have a very diverse set of panel members here, bringing experience from product and services organization, managing portfolio of 200 applications. So let's begin our discussion today. And my first question will be, I was referring to World Quality Report yesterday, and very interestingly, I see only 20% of the respondents have indicated that they are using automation, right? Which means they have certain level of automation implemented in their organization, which kind of very surprising for me. We talk so much about automation and replacing manual testing and automation, but still so less of adoption. So in that context, I would like to hear what is your definition of large scale enterprise automation when industry is still at 20% adoption. What does that mean when you say large scale automation in the enterprise setting? Probably I'll start with Tanu.
So Unmesh, just to maybe take that question again on the scale at which we are speaking about. If I'm talking about a 200 application, I wouldn't look at an number of application getting covered with automation. What percentage useful automation is being done could be one context that we can look at. When I say useful, not all applications would need an automation. There are applications that are a part of 80% of the journey. There are applications which are 20% of the journey. So again, the Pareto rule applies. What are those critical things that definitely need automation? What are those critical customer journeys that definitely need to get touched and which will actually directly impact your customers? So you have to understand those key elements of what is your component. And again, looking at the percentages, what we have been able to achieve at various customers, I mean, the customer that we are talking about is 70% of complete test assets is also automated. And when we say 70%, it means the major, chunk of business which comes is from their core application and the surrounding digital application, which is more of a customer attractive, channels which are there. And automation helps when you actually stabilize your legacy or your enterprise. And the second part of it is when you look at your digital, ecosystem and ensure that all these interactions with the, different vendors, say there are all these Paytms and other things. How are you interacting with them? How are your contracts being, interacting with these vendors, and whether you are doing contract testing right? If that can be automated, if these interfaces can be automated, most of your problem is actually handled. So we may need to concentrate more around what is the vision and the goal of the automation. The vision ideally should be aligned with moving faster to market. That could be one. Maybe a kind of customer experience. Say when we were doing one of these automobile customers, the whatever we were testing was going directly to the dealership, and there they had to answer the customers right then and there. I mean, the system should not have a defect, and if there was a defect, the mean time to repair was not more than an hour's time. So that's the speed at which you have to respond to changes. And hence the size and the criticality of this complete workflow becomes very, very difficult, and your test strategy or the strategy of your tools has to be aligned with what is your vision and your goal.
Great points, Tanu. And I think we'll touch upon some of these points later in the discussion. Thanks for your perspective. So I'll next move to Sujata. If you tell us your experience from the telecom domain, how you are running the large-scale automation within that area.
Sure. So actually, Unmesh and everyone, for me, I look at it in two different ways. When you talk about large-scale automation, so first would be, where you need automation at the large scale, so that your automation has to be in larger scale, and you should have the ability to run it multiple times. So you set up your lot of virtual machines, and then you keep on running the. So where the organization where they are having too many digital changes are happening, and they are doing the deployment very, very fast, and they want everything to go literally faster, they want to run it that way. That's one part. But at the same time, the second part is where I would like to talk automation at the larger enterprise level. And that's more actually, that actually fits for the organization like Vodafone. Like there you can imagine that there are a lot of digital changes are happening. You have the core business stack, and that's actually running through the multiple geographies and then multiple technologies. And there are some hundreds of applications are already available over there. So in that kind of cases, and literally there are thousands of business processes are available with so many variations, maybe more than 100 variations. And if you can think about the telco company, then there are so many different plans, and there would be a lot of combinations are available. Now when digital changes are happening, because business would like to make everything as a very flexible, and that changes are not they are not independent, they have to be meet somewhere with the core business stack. Now, what does it mean, the large scale automation for me? I have multiple technologies. I have different product. I have IoT, things like IoT. I have already things like AI, ML, lot of analytics been implemented over there. And on top of that, if there are changes are happening, then we as a testing department or quality assurance engineering department, we need to ensure that all the business processes, those are actually touching the customer or the employees, they are keeping intact. So for me, the second part, when I talk about the large enterprise level, it's automation at the larger level. You start from right from beginning till end. So basically you are cutting across through different layers, and then you do the automation. And that's actually, that is what we call as a large scale automation. And if you go to the Vodafone context, actually recently we named it as a more like a hyper automation, and try automating as much as possible. Now, while I spoke about so much of complexity, and of course, there are things like microservices are there. So of course, it makes your whole automation a little bit more complicated, because how you are going to integrate so many microservices, and you see of the business process, right, in holistic way. So that becomes a more challenging thing. But then that is the way, and that is what actually Vodafone calls about. If you go anywhere in Vodafone, that's a big strategy for us. But fortunately, we started working on this particular area, quite some time back. I would say 4-5 years back, we already started our journey into this testing department. Now, complexity is really multifold, and we do not have a single tool available that can take care of whole of your automation at that level. So finding out the right set of tools, finding out the right set of processes, a lot of connectivity between the different groups are needed. And of course, with along with all of this thing, right set of processes needs to be incorporated along with the orchestration tool. So for me, I mean, when I look about the large scale automation, with respect to Vodafone context, it's about you automate the whole large scale enterprise. And there are a lot of things are needed to be planned in beginning while creating the strategy to be really successful into that area. Okay, and
Great.
I am not surprised when you said about World Quality Report talks about 20% of overall automation in testing, because it's going on for last few years, and it is so complex. Because if you think, I mean, when we talk about testing, it's nothing but you're basically automating your business journey, and that means we need to navigate through a lot of different technologies, lot of different product. It could be commercial, it could be your COTS product, it could be many different concepts. So basically navigating through all of this thing is a real complexity, and getting a right set of orchestrating tool to stitch that entire process is bit challenging. And that is where I think whole testing industry is actually lacking into it, not having the right set of tool set. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks, Sujata. I'll go to Malyaj to get his insights on this topic, especially from the product engineering perspective. I know Malyaj personally, and we have worked in the past in the products where we have much better control on the development of a solution, right? So, Malyaj,
Yeah,
what
sure.
is your perspective on this?
Yeah, so I'm thinking that, when it comes to, so when this word large scale comes into picture, right? So it means, everyone is looking at a kind of, with the product companies, my experience has been that, how you can build, or how you can think about automation becoming kind of a primary validation cycle or primary validation engine for your product lines, right? So in the journey, you can see that you have multiple products in place, and not always you're fortunate to work in a startup company where you are working on 1.0 of a product and you can invest into the automation upfront. There are times when you join an organization where you are given a broken ship and given a task to fix it. So I would say that, in my opinion, if you want to come up, or what is the problem, what is the scale of the problem you want to solve, that is the important thing. And I think business efficiencies and saving the cost on manual and having the faster cycles, those are there, while you as an engineer need to get into the shoes of an architect and understand like what kind of architecture or what kind of approach I need to build in. What are who are going to build that large scale enterprise level automation suite for me? So look at the skill set for the around you. Either you have it or you need to hire it. But there are cases when the expectation from your business management is that okay, everyone should be able to do it. Then you think the problem in a different way, because I personally feel that if you want to make things simple for everyone, there has to be a very complex engine which will be able to be built, so that that engine should be able to absorb those complexity and solve the problem behind the scenes very elegantly, so that it becomes easy to consume. So look at your goals. Are you looking at pure play developer like automation engineers to contribute there, or you want to make it generic and things like that? So based on those, you will decide your decisions on which approach you need to follow. And what I personally feel is that the pattern or the approach you follow, the architecture you build in the initial 5 to 6 months actually decides the scalability of it, and how much kind of pluggable you can make this system, and um, what kind of principles like object orientation and all have you try to apply while you are building that. I think those are the very key decisions, and I wouldn't find it different from any beautiful architectural monument or a building, like, you might appreciate that building maybe after 100 years, but if you look at what really went in to build that piece of work, I think then you will realize that, okay, the way the architectures and the engineers work in the initial phase of that is only make it sustainable and scalable. So I would stop here. So large scale for me is beauty. It's about sustenance. It's about maintenance, and the thought process which goes in while you are really going and laying down those foundations. So if that is right, most likely you will be right. And because the implementation has its own pitfalls. But I mean, you can fix those problems. But if the foundation or the initial building blocks are not right, huge maintenance cost will come, and possibly you will be very busy, but you will not produce business values. So it may be that your team will be very big, but the amount of impact you are bringing onto business will be very less, because you're busy with maintaining the automation rather than automating the real core value automable test cases. The last point is the choice of tools and at which layer you need to attack the problem. Those are the other points which may be discussed at a later point in time.
Yeah, great points. Thanks, Malay. It's an interesting perspective. So we'll go to Mukund and understand his view on this topic.
Yeah, for me, when we look at any application, okay, what is the definition of large is very important. So because it's quite subjective, means in case of Sujata, the large means it's huge, it's an cross boundary, it's hundreds of application, and for Malaj it could be a product which will getting covered with say 90% of automation, and that can be a definition of large. So how an industry is defining that is what is a large scale automation. So being there into the services company, I work, and I could get a chance to work with the product as well as the services, and could identify that this definition of large is really confusing to us, and that leads to the what the statement you made for the World Quality Report, why there is adoption of a 20% in the whole testing industry. The reason is, we as an industry, we are getting mature. We are not claiming that we are fully mature into the test automation. We yet to reach there, and because there is not lot investment has gone into the innovation piece of the automation. That is what one of my first point, that hey, when we are targeting for the large scale, do you have all tools in my arsenal so I can attack all problems? Right now we are not there. Okay. The another thing is that, okay, do we have a tool which can do the amalgamations of all my problems? Okay, be it in my user experience, what we have just heard in the previous keynote session. Do I have an adequate tool to do the user experience automation? Do I have an adequate tool to do the API automation at the large level? Okay, when it comes to the multiple integrations, do we have all the team equipped, okay, with the right skill set to adapt to that? So in that case, as there is ever-changing business scenarios, is it worth to do the automation at the large scale is the first question. Having said that, okay, maybe a lot of industry is going for an automation because you would like to do right at the first place. So, but still not the legacy code. Okay, do I need to do the legacy code automation and then apply that? So multiple strategies has to be adopted. Okay, you cannot have a silver bullet which can solve your all problem. You should have a problem which will solve the legacy thing, where right from the mainframe applications to the different kind of the integrations. So you should have your regression automation to be done at one, and same time whatever is being build new should get automated. Now the challenges into the large scale automation is this, like how you can make a balance of it. So whatever I'm developing which is new is to be get automated, so we can apply for an in-sprint automation kind of a technique, or we can have the right from the reversing the pyramid, and then unit testing is to be at the larger scale. And how do I do my regression automation, because that is something which is at the production, which has to be tested, and it should not have any collateral damage. many questions. Okay, so attacking large-scale automation requires to then add a clear-cut strategy, and that requires a cultural change along with the development team. So how a developer is adopting testing changes? Okay, are they still thinking that okay, hey, testing means is something that the manual person is doing and giving me a defect report, or do I have a responsibility of testing? Okay, so it starts with that cultural change, and obviously with the agile, which is getting mature and all, a lot of companies has adopted fully. Okay, but my experience into this, a cultural change is the foundation for any large scale automation. Rest of the points I echo with Tanu, Sujata, and Malaj, that most of the points you have covered, that what are the challenges. But I would say that, okay, in interest of everyone's, means the audience interest, I would say that shall we know that what problems will come on the way, what the problems, what we as a leaders we experienced. So I think that, okay, for me, large scale automation has to be chopped down and has to be thought through and do the lot of whiteboarding, do the road mapping, and attack to the problem. That's what my opinion is.
Yeah, I think a very fair point. Mukund. In fact, having a clear vision and goals defined for your team is very important, and those whiteboarding sessions are equally important, where you design, put your architecture, you have a shared understanding of that, and then you start working on it. Great points. Thanks, Mukund. So I would go to the next question is more around the tooling and frameworks. I have a few questions to ask, but I would take this first. So today, if you look at the automation space, there are so many tools, there are so many frameworks. It's very fragmented. From what Mukund said, from mainframe to microservices, we have legacy and we have modern architectures, and how do we test these? How do we support the automation for these technology patterns and architecture, right? So what makes it harder to decide is which tool is right for me, which framework is right for me, and what is the option that I should go for? What is the programming language I should use, and so on, right? So when we plan for such automation at an organization level, for a particular product or set of products, what are the key points when we want to select tools or frameworks? Do we recommend a single tool approach? Do we recommend a multiple tool approach? What are your thoughts on this? Probably this time I'll start with Mukund.
Yeah, for me it's asking the question like, okay, if you want to travel to Delhi, which route you will take? Okay, but the first thing is that, okay, am I really gonna want to go to Delhi, or I will take a smaller paths? Okay, so and if I want to select a tool, it's like a mode of transfer selection. But having said that, okay, I would say that a single tool cannot have been a solution to the problem, because you have a multiple technology. Like, okay, when you go to the mobile one, okay, maybe APM sounds and very attractive, that okay, hey, this is the tool where I should go and then do my entire automation. But tomorrow, when the technology will going to change, is it have a forward compatibility? Means it can be a future proof tool. So instead of tool, I would say that the strategy is the first important thing, that okay, how we are gonna do that, what layer I will gonna test it, and for me, the unit testing, which have been absolute, so you can use a JUnit and NUnit kind of tools, which first has to be tested thoroughly, and then you can move to the layers for an API where you have a REST assured or other tools to be them. These two layers to be enough, then later you can have a user experience that can be done through the Selenium kind of tool with the combination of Java or C# or Python nowadays. But the most important is that, okay, when it comes to the business layer, okay, my personal preference is that, okay, go for an BDD approach. Okay, because that gives you a complete journey and give you the reusability. So as I said, a single tool cannot help, because in a large scale application, you also need to focus on your NFR, your maximum defects coming from your non-functional testing, where the performance engineering, performance, security, accessibility, all those areas has to be covered, which is also equally important as like in functional testing. So, and for those, all the technologies, you will have a different tools. The important one is that, okay, how I can get a consolidated reporting which can be integrated and create a different dashboard. Then later you build a tool agnostic framework which can be separated out from your abstract layer of the test cases, and then you can have a tool agnostic. So tomorrow you just change a tool, still your test cases can be executed. So need to think about like how we can build those kind of framework. So a single tool cannot have the solution to all these problems.
Just before moving to the next panel, on the same topic, there is a debate that we hear, like, scripted automation versus scriptless automation. So, Mukund, you want to add something on that? To continue?
Yeah. So for UI level, a scriptless automation can be. So I say, pardon my word, but when it's a quick and dirty automation, you can go for a scriptless automation. But the tools like the Micro Focus or the Tricentis are getting so mature. Okay, so they can give a user level flexibility where you can use the model-based testing and apply that. But these are the licensed tools. Developing a scriptless automation is like the same thing what Malaj mentioned, that okay, making something easy is a complex task. So if you want to build your own scriptless automation tool, it will be very complex because you are making it easy for someone. So then in that case, my suggestion is that okay, go and adopt a license tool if your budget allows to do that. There is a huge scope for the scriptless automation when you would like to use it, run it, and if required, you can throw it and rebuild it. So if your approach is more less focused on the reusability, but the quick turnaround, scriptless is really promising approach.
Unmesh, Harsh side. I'm not sure whether you are referring Slido or not, because we have a lot of questions which are poured in by the audience as well.
Yes,
and
so
some of them are very interesting ones. If you can post it to the panel, so the audience would also love to hear views on that.
Yeah. All right. So probably I'll switch on to the Slido questions. Thanks, Mukund, for your perspective on this. So I want to take this question from Ruturaj, which is about, he's asking, don't you think that large scale automation is fake and complete waste of time, money, and effort in the long run? So what are your views on this? Let's start with Sujata or Tanu wants to go first.
Okay, can you hear me?
Okay, we can hear you.
Okay, now. Okay. I'm sorry, is that Tanu you wanted to go first?
No, Sujata, please go ahead. I think I'll add it to my experience, what we had as an experience. So maybe I'll just finish it up for that. Yeah.
Sure. So, I mean, let me give the answer first and then give the explanation. Large scale automation is definitely not fake, but it is complex. It is really complex. Like if you think about AI today, I mean, last many decades, actually, we are talking about AI. Okay, but achieving the true benefit out, and AI and ML had been already implemented into many areas, right? But still there is a long way to go, because we want to really replicate that how human intelligence is working, that we want to get it out of computer, and there is a long way to go. We came a long way into AI ML area, and still there is a long way to go to achieve the right set of benefit. Now, from my perspective, of course, large scale automation is not definitely not fake, but then it is complex, and it does not make sense in automating entire large scale automation at every place, because for doing the automation, it is not about the number, it is not about showcasing certain number to management that okay, we achieved this percentage of automation. Whole idea behind doing this automation, that you do the things faster, you do it really flawless way, and you can deliver the things with quality. So these three, from my perspective, these three particular things have to be kept in mind while we do the automation. It has nothing to do with the percentage. I mean, just imagine that certain business process, if it requires a lot of cognitive thinking, if it requires a lot of human intervention is needed, and I am trying to really automate that particular business process, it will not give the benefit. And probably I may not even end up getting into 98, 99% of accuracy with automation, and that is not going to be helpful. So point is, we need to be very, very choosy that what particular large scale automation we need to achieve. And there are a lot of interference when we do the large scale automation. I said from my perspective, it goes into, you do the automation, you run it in a larger chunk. That would be one way. But secondly, when you try automating the large enterprise, navigating through multiple things, achieving that is really tough, because you definitely need certain orchestration tool. So even though there are a lot of freeware tools are available, there would be situation that where you need to build certain IPs or some commercial tool or some freeware tool. Now stitching all of this thing together, it's a bit complicated thing. And that is why you see that even, World Quality Report talks about that, why our automation percentage is so low. So even though I start my test designing through model-based testing and all, but still, if you look at whole testing holistically, it has got a lot of processes. So automating that entire thing, including data and considering the dynamic data and all, it's a bit difficult. So it is difficult. It has long way to go, and we need to be very, very mindful what process needs to be picked up and what it makes sense. I am trying to automate certain things, and that's not going to be repetitive, but it's not a kind of fancy item. Okay, I have done some complex area. That's not going to give the benefit to the organization. So whatever we do, it has to give certain benefit. So of course, it is achievable, but it has to be thought through how it has to be done. It's just using the latest technology is not the cool thing to do. We need to think that what are the type of tools that can actually navigate through the different platform which is actually getting used in our organization. So all of these factors need to be considered. But yes, we have a long way to go. I mean, but it is definitely achievable, because I can tell you that in Vodafone we have done it in a large extent into quite a few areas, but we are not able to do in many areas. So hopefully, a lot of things can be done in future. So it requires a lot of time, lot of investment also from the organization. Yeah. So Tanu, you can move forward with your point.
Sure, thanks, Sujata, and very aligned to your thoughts, Sujata. I think we did attempt large-scale automation, and we have failed miserably in some point in time. And the current implementation, if I have to talk about it, we have been running it for 2 years, and it's just basis the learnings that we had. I mean, there have been a lot of changes. We have created our own platform, which actually enables a lot of, digital and enterprise solutions, which helps us achieve those goals. So where do we fail? Actually, I'd rather start from there. We majorly fail, and wherever we have seen failures and analyze those failures, it's around data. So availability of data itself becomes the biggest challenge for automation, and until unless we actually engineer our data well, it finally is a place where you can fail miserably badly, and we have failed there, because maintenance of that data, maintenance of the kinds of experience that people had in the production, bringing it back to your testing, again incorporating in your test is a big thing. Second important thing is change management, as Malyaj also talked about. So the speed at which things change, if you are keeping your automation for n-1 day, it won't happen. You have to run parallel with the changes which are being made. So you have to stand along with your testers to ensure that every build is run only through automation. If you have to maintain large scale, it has to be maintainable, data has to be available, and it should be easy for anyone to maintain and execute it. You shouldn't have automation engineers dedicated for it. The current implementation, which I have around 100 testers, which are there on the ground, all of them are full stack testers who actually get into maintaining their own scripts, running their own scripts, making their own changes, and doing it then and there. And that's how it is maintained. So if you ask me, no, it's definitely a truth, and we do fail sometimes. The only thing is come back, analyze, and make those changes.
Great points. Thanks, Tanu. Balayaj, Mukund, you want to address this or shall we move to the next question?
Yeah, I would just say one sentence on this. You hate it or you love it. You cannot ignore it. It's like in your large scale automation, your organization will definitely would like to move in that path.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right, so we have it's raining, we have so many questions coming in and it's getting really interesting. So the next one I'm going to pick up is from Brijesh Dev, and I actually had a question around this. So, in large scale automation, whether it's a large or small, the focus is on automating regression tests. But there are lots of other opportunities to automate in testing, just now, Tanu mentioned about test data, test data, you can automate provisioning test data, automate infrastructure, not just to aid the automation, but help the overall testing effort to set up the environment, set up the test data, analyze the outcomes, generate reports. I have seen teams spending 2 hours every day manually compiling reports. How do we can automate that? Whether they are using automation or manual way of testing, there are still opportunities for them to help with some kind of automation. So what are your thoughts on regression versus a holistic automation strategy for the team? I would give a chance to Balayaj to talk about first.
Sure, thank you, Unmesh. Realistically speaking, everything starts with a small, I think most of the automation project starts with thinking about regression test cases and how they can be automated so that manual bandwidth is, not required. And that is the general starting process, right? Look at our industry. I mean, I'm just trying to give an answer to the previous question also. I mean, cars are being built for last 120 years now. And who knew that, car will be built with robots, and a piece of metal sheet will be transformed into a really fantastic body in no time. And have you seen, those robots working? I mean, they amaze me how efficiently and how, beautifully they built or they transform the thing. So we are in this industry right now. Maybe we are in the early stages, but I have a belief that, with this approach of automation, making it everywhere, so that you are more intelligently tackling the problems and you are very efficiently doing it, so that your human brain, which is which is so much more efficient to solve some other problems, is available to tackle those problems which are unsolved. Right? So right now we are thinking about test being automated, and we are calling it automation, and whatever scale we are talking about. At the same time, I would say that this opportunity to look at automation being brought into other processes and other problem statements is I think it's a natural thing for engineers. I mean, engineers generally try to see efficiency and how can they, bring in that into their into day-to-day world. So my point is, we all have opportunities to look at patterns and look at ways in which we are functioning, and I think optimistically we should be able to grow ourselves or push ourselves to the next level. I'll give a very quick example, right? The API, I mean, maybe last 10 years we hear this more and more, right? They help us integrate systems in such a beautiful manner, right? Like you look at REST or SOAP, you have one system running, weather applications, and it is able to be able to share the data with whoever wants to integrate. Is the automation going to achieve that classical integration? I mean, can I write two frameworks which can talk to each other beautifully the way application talk? I mean, those are the levels slowly and gradually we'll have to think about, and possibly microservices. Why not in automation? Can we think about that pattern and can we bring it to serve us? I mean, can technology be our slave and not otherwise, right? So I think we need to change the game. Maybe this decade may bring in, huge leap forward, be it using pure play engineering architecture or AI. I don't have any, specific experience in that, but I have a very optimistic view of how things will evolve. So
Great.
That's how I think,
Thanks, Malayaj. I think Mukund, you have raised your hand, so I would go to Mukund.
Yeah, I just would like to add to answer one of the Bridges' question was related to the test data. Okay, so the procurement of test data takes a lot of time, but now there are sophisticated tools there in market which can do not only a test data management and test data generation, but the entire a complete workflow of a test data. So where you can have some set of data from your production and some data you can generate based on the logic and based on your business requirement, and can then combine that and do the test data automation. This is a huge domain in itself. Okay, and there are companies who are providing these solutions right now. Okay, they are very much promising startups and coming up with these solutions. And I can connect with you offline, Bridges, to provide you a more insight on this. I think Sujat also raised hand, so I will like to give her time.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mukund.
Thank you.
Yeah. So the point is, regression testing is kind of, quick win, and that is how every organization gets started. And because you get the very, very quick result, and you can keep the momentum up, and then your management can see that yes, certain things are coming. You can generate interest, and you can actually buy in some of the things for buying your tools and to ensure that your management is doing certain investments. So point is, yes, regression testing in any organization, that's a starting point. Okay. Now point is, when you look forward for a longer run kind of, benefit, then at that point of time, that strategy has to be very different. It has to get started right from your, when you do the test designing. So today there are a lot of methods are available. You can do your cognitive test designing and go ahead with the modularized way, so that you can build your model such a way you can integrate, you can disintegrate, and your automation should get started right from there to get the true benefit. So
Guys, please can you mute yourself?
Hello?
Okay. So can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so now my point is, that automation, if I think about from testing perspective, automation has to get started right from test designing phase. So you make it more like a modularized way, you integrate, disintegrate, and the way it has to be built. And some time back, I spoke about the orchestration of the different tools. So that orchestration is not only in the test execution layer, that when your application will navigate through upstream, downstream application through the different technologies, but it has to actually get started right from the designing phase. You design it, and any changes are happening, that should create the trigger to create the test data, and then your execution, then you get the reporting. So we call it more like a smart end-to-end automation. And of course, while I'm talking that you may feel that it is, I'm not trying to say it is very simple, because it is really complex, because you need to consider a lot of business rules and a lot of variations and all already embedded into the model, so that your entire things can be taken care. So I understand the point, and that is why people generally focus always more on test execution. But when you go for the model based testing, actually your whole of the testing strategy needs to be redesigned, because if you are not right way choosing your the stuff what you are automating, you end up automating the garbage, and after some point of time you don't get the benefit. So for getting the longer term benefit, your whole test strategy has to be rebuilt, and it has to be created based on the different organization, so that it can amalgamate your domain, your technology, and your requirement, and that would be the best way to get the right set of benefit. Yeah, that's my perspective. Yeah.
Yeah. in my experience as well, there are many opportunities that we can automate to help the testing. Recently I was working with a team, and they kind of test the mobile devices, the mobile application across multiple configurations, and by the regulatory requirement, they have to produce screenshots, and managing those screenshots was very difficult for them. It used to take like every tester has to spend an hour collecting and collating these screenshots and putting them into a PDF, arranging it in a PDF. So our team built a small tool, few lines of Excel macro, and we gave that tool, and it not only just helped them in automating that particular part of testing, but it also removed a lot of physical strain that they have to do on screen, number of clicks that they have to perform to arrange all these things. So the team was so happy to that they felt very inclusive when we gave this solution to them. So there are many such opportunities, I believe, we can find in helping our testing teams to automate the task. I want to go to the, sorry.
5 minutes to go. So can we go towards the conclusion?
Yeah. So the last question that I want to ask, which is probably continuing to the yesterday's panel. So will automation put manual testing into shared, and then how do we make automation more inclusive? Who wants to go there?
Shall I go first?
Yes,
Yeah. So I don't think that automation will really vanish manual testing, because what you are automating, we are automating the stuff that we are designing. Okay, and for doing that sort of designing, but yes, of course, things are going to change. The way earlier days we used to write the normal simple test cases, and then from there you do the execution. If we continue doing the same way, then we cannot really cater into the business requirement, because if you look at everywhere, all organizations are wanting to do whole deployment much more faster. So to cater into that, we cannot work in the previous way. So certain upgradation of the skill set is needed, just to ensure that we can have our manual tester. Even the manual tester, they will no more be called as a only simple manual tester. I mean, I think a need of doing just test execution manually, that is repetitive, that will definitely go down. But at the same time, designing will create a lot of important points. So while we do the model based testing, finally it has to be designed by the people. Even though there are tools, even though there are things are available, it has to be scripted by people. So from my perspective, it's not true that the manual testing will go, but then definitely a lot of upgradation of the skill set is needed. I mean, as compared to what it used to happen 5 years back, or even today. Even today also a lot of things changed, and we need to work on that. So, I may not wish to go into the pure automation scripting, but a lot of new type of skill set is needed to ensure that we are doing the things appropriately. Yes.
Thanks, Sujata. Tanu, you want to add to Sujata's points?
Yeah, just adding to Sujata's point, the way we have been tracking it is we are using a value stream mapping. So when you say a value stream mapping, you establish the value right from the requirements phase to the production, go live into production, and then even the feedbacks that you receive. So right from the requirement stage, you start automating, looking at how the requirements are getting collected. Can test designing, as Sujata we said, we also have a lot of cognitive models that we have built in, because we have got all these learnings from different insurance companies or banks or automotive or telecom domains. So these cases can be reused, and you look at a lot of automation around the creation around values. These cases then generate your data. Data again in itself is a complete art. I mean, if you look at it, and we have tried to automate the complete test data automation process itself, where there are data that you have to bring from the databases, there are data which are actually synthetic data, there are data which has to be continuously improved, There are your different ages of client, different kind of geography in which client resides. So you have to have that richness in your testing. So that comes from your data, and then it moves into your execution environment, execution back into the post-production analytics. You get a lot of automation around, even in the customer experience monitoring and analytics, which happens in production. A customer sentiment analysis, which needs to completely flow back. So this VSM, actually a value stream mapping, could help a lot. And rather than looking at just an execution as a part of the automation, this is what could help establish a better automation in a large scale automation project.
Okay, thank you. So Mukund, Malayaj, you have any closing thoughts on the idea of automation taking over manual testing?
Sorry, I was on mute. So here is my submission on the entire topic. In a single sentence, I would say that manual testing will remain. A manual tester will be gone. So you need to devise a new term, is an automation testers, because right now we call as automation engineer who does the engineering job of converting the manual test cases into an automation. So no matter whatever the test case quality has been written there, they go and do the automation. My submission is that, okay, hey, first your automation engineer has to be a tester. He know nitty-gritties of a testing, and then convert into an execute in an automated way. So yes, the new term that has to be coined is to be an automation tester.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Unmesh. So I'll take the question as see, the point is all the things which can be automated should be automated because of the definite benefits. However, testing is a very complex activity, and it requires a decent amount, not a decent, but it requires huge amount of your brain power to be applied to think about the design of your test, and the way you really approach and finalize how it will be efficiently performed, right? So I think the first part will be where we will be investing a lot in future, and the humans will continue to invest there. The execution part, I definitely strongly feel that the machines will take over, and they should take over, because those are repeatable things. The first execution may still go with humans, and I think that is very important, because in a one glance of a screen, a human can intelligently take so many judgment. I mean, the amount of data we process in one glance is like I think 2 GB or something like that, right? So I think we have a lot superiority to machine when it comes to looking at the fresh things, and analytically looking at. So machine will take a lot of time to catch up, and I think we'll change the game. I think the applications will change and all that, right? So my thinking is that that is where the humans will have superiority, and we will continue to train machines to do what they need to do. So if anyone is in the job of manual testers, I mean, I think it is not going to go away, but it will not stay as you are given a script and you have to repeat that execution, expecting that you will walk the rope and you will find no problems there. You'll find problems there, right? Because your job is to identify issues, explore the application, look at different ways to break it. Automation doesn't do it. Automation is not intelligent. I mean, generally, we need to make that also possible. But at the same time, from the job perspective, the variety will come in terms of how this will become more. At the next level, you can break and change the game. One more area where automation will be more prevalent is the performance engineering, and that's where the humans are not able to make a big contribution. So the virtual user concept will continue to grow with the large enterprise applications or big applications. So those are my ways of looking at the future.
Yeah. Thanks, Malaya. Brilliant points. I wish we had more time. I think it was getting really interesting, and there are so many questions that have popped up on the Slido. Unfortunately, we have to close this session, but it was really a wonderful discussion. Thanks, panel members, for contributing your thoughts and interesting perspective. I really appreciate that. I hope the participants have enjoyed this session. So thank you very much, and we can close the session now.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Unmesh.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much, everyone. It was interesting. And thanks, Aditya, for giving this opportunity to all of us.
Thank you so
I
much,
really
panel. It was
enjoyed.
really wonderful.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Thank you
so
so
much.
much.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Aditya and
panelists.
everyone.
Thanks, Aditya.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, each and
Thank
every
you, audience.
panel member, Mukund, Sujata, Malayas, Tanupriya. It was a wonderful and insightful discussion we had. And yes, we have connected the dots from yesterday panel discussion, manual testing, and today's importance of this automation testing. So probably we are great on both the days. Thank you so much for to all the panel members, and a special thanks to Unmesh for moderating it really well. Thanks for his patience, looking out Slido questions, chat window, and everything, and moderating it really well. So thank you so much, Unmesh, from all the from whole GTR team.